The unrecognised album editing process is best carried out using the Plato app on your Android tablet or phone. If during the recording of an album no metadata is returned from GraceNote, don't worry because Plato will still record it, even though the progress bar remains static. When you stop the recording, Plato will save the album with a generic thumbnail for artwork and a date stamp as the track title. This can happen for a couple of reasons. The first is that Plato requires an internet connection in order to communicate with GraceNote, and if no connection is present, then no information will be returned. The second is that the album you have recorded is simply not in the GraceNote database, so therefore cannot return any information about the album you have recorded. But not to worry, Plato has some very easy to use editing tools to let you manually recreate the entire album if necessary. To edit an unrecognised album, firstly locate the album, which will be called Unrecognised, in your media library, and then short press the generic thumbnail to access the track list. You can see the unrecognised album has a track with a date stamp as the title as previously mentioned, and a track duration of 1 minute. Plato will always show an unrecognised album with a 1 minute duration, even if the album was 10 tracks and 30 minutes in length. This 1 minute is to facilitate editing, but be assured all of your recording will be within the track, as Plato will have recorded everything on the record. Select the More Options icon, that's the 3 dots adjacent to the 1 minute track duration, and select Edit from the options available. This takes you to the Edit screen, where you can manually edit tags. To begin with, edit the tags on screen to reflect track 1 of your album, starting with the track title. Now the artist, the album title and album artist, and finally the track number, and in this example is track 1, and the recording is of disc number 1. Now that the correct information is entered, short press on the Save Tags button. A progress bar will appear at the bottom of the screen. Once the edits have been updated, select the Clear button at the bottom right of the screen. We now need to manually edit the track durations. To do this, short press the Edit Start End of Track button. This will take you to the track edit screen. As we have already correctly entered the tags for track 1, we now need to find the start and end of the track. We can see that the current window runs from 0 to 2 minutes. This indicates that we are looking at a 2-minute window onto the recording. To locate the end of track 1, we need to increase the window size to beyond 2 minutes, and we do this by using the arrows next to the word Resize Window. Each press of the arrow adds an additional 1 minute of the track, or we can select Resize Window and select how many minutes we would like to be displayed in the window using the slider and selecting OK. In this example, we will choose 5 minutes. As this is the first track on the album, we know the recording will start at the beginning of the album, so we do not need to mark a start point. We only need to mark the end of the track. To do so, play the track until you hear the point where track 1 ends. Once you are at the correct point, pause the track. You can also use the progress bar to skip to an exact point in the recorded track. In this example, I will use the progress bar and skip to 3 minutes. Now I will play the track and wait until track 1 ends before selecting pause. Now the recording is paused, press the Mark End button. The word End turns yellow, and the timing changes to the point where we pressed Mark End. We are also presented with a track duration. To save this recording, press the Save button. Please note, pressing the New tab at this stage creates a completely new track, which we will look at shortly. The original recording, which showed as 1 minute in length and had a date stamp as its title, will now be replaced using the details we have entered, and you will now see the track edits saving on screen. Now we need to identify track 2. Plato will automatically mark the end of track 1 to be the start of track 2. All we need to do is find the end of track 2 and mark it. Play the track or use the progress bar to skip to where track 2 ends. Then, as we did before, hit pause and then mark end. You will again be presented with a track duration of the track you are about to create. The only change we make going forward after we have edited track 1 is to select the new button as opposed to save. This tells Plato to create a completely new track. Be careful not to hit the save button at this point, or you will overwrite track 1 with track 2. A pop-up window will now be displayed where you can manually enter the track title, artist and track number. The album details will be automatically adopted from the tags we entered earlier for track 1. Input the correct details and press OK. Now repeat this process to reveal all tracks on the album by increasing the window view with the resize arrows as before. As mentioned previously, you will only need to find and mark the endpoints of the track, as Plato will remember the start point from the end of the previous track. From here on in, just use the new button to write out the remaining tracks. Once you complete the editing process for your album and have created each track, press the Android back button. This will take you back to the tag edit screen. The last change we are going to make is to manually add in the artwork for the album we are listening to. The trick is to have the artwork in your tablet's photo album or gallery. This can be obtained by searching Google Images or by taking a picture of your album using the tablet's camera. Once you have this in your gallery, tap on the generic album thumbnail. That's the generic blue icon. This will automatically launch your gallery. Now browse your gallery and tap the artwork or image you wish to use. You can now see the artwork has changed, but in order for it to stay there, we need to save these changes. To do that, select the Save Tags button. This will change the artwork automatically for each track contained within that album, so you only need to do this once. Select the Android backup button and you will see all the correct tracks and durations for the album using all the information you entered during the editing process. Now you can select the album or individual tracks to play and see all the tags and artwork displayed on the now playing screen.